Hello, everyone. This is Stephen with Democracy Demythologized, and today I'm talking with Dr. Muya. So, Dr. Muya is a scholar of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and he has spent years uh, studying the conflict in the region, both as a scholar and before that, he was also a journalist in that area. And we're going to talk about a lot of the conflicts in the eastern Congo, particularly in the Kivu area. And he's going to go through a lot about the history of what's happening and how that feeds into some of the violence we're seeing today. There are a lot of factors that seem to contribute to what's going on, both domestically and internationally. One thing that stood out to me was how interconnected all the different issues are, and how much what's going on in the Congo is really a product of a lot of different international forces, both in the region and around the world. Even some of the most, like what might seem like some of the most local issues are often really fed, say, for example, ethnic disputes. They're often really fed by wider international conversations in the region. They relate to different ethnic groups that span multiple countries, and different countries in the area will often feed the conflict, those local conflicts, for their own benefit. And yeah, just kind of seeing that how much different international players influence and seem to create what's going on in the Congo. Whether that's other countries nearby like Rwanda and Uganda, or kind of big powers like the US and China. Everyone has their hand in the Congo, and seems on some level complicit in the violence there. I hope you enjoy the conversation, and I hope some of my viewers might know a fair amount about what's going on in the Congo. Some might have pretty much never heard of it. So either way, I hope you get something out of it. Hello, everyone. We're here with Dr. Yvon Muya. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Stephen. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Yeah, it's good to be able to talk. So today we're going to talk a lot about Congo, about the Democratic Republic of the Congo. You're like a scholar who studies this. Do you want to maybe talk about, let's get started talking about like what made you interested in this? What made you interested in studying Congo, and kind of what areas do you typically research?
Okay, what I know about Congo and what I studied about Congo came from the field.
Mm,
As I worked there as journalist before. So for nearly 20 years, my my first training, my first profession was journalism. I grew up in journalism for all these years, covering those conflicts in the field from Kinshasa to Kivu, uh, reporting on debate in the Congolese parliament. So I have a close relationship with the political area in Congo and these conflicts. When I started my career as journalist, it was in the middle of negotiations. You know, those negotiations from Pretoria, where all the belligerent in these conflicts signed the major agreement called the Agreement of Pretoria after Sun City's negotiations. And this led to this major agreement and a government of national union. We hoped that time in Congo that this conflict is over. Unfortunately, it was not the case, and so yeah.
yeah.
So you see, I have something to to live with these conflicts from the field. And now when I moved in Canada, I discovered conflict studies as a program in St. Paul University. As a journalist, it was a major discovering to make those phenomena to change my perspective from just reporting to think and suggest a solution possibly to this conflict. So that what I know, and then all those topics I covered, identities, phenomenon, crisis, political violence that still occur in the Eastern Congo. All those stuff was the base of what I am learning now when I discovered this program of conflict studies in St. Paul University.
Yeah, this makes total sense. And by the way, I feel like every single time that there's an agreement in Congo, there's always a hope. It's like this one will be the one that lasts. And then I guess I guess we'll know it when we see it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are a couple of agreements from 2002, and now I can tell you, agreement and negotiation. They were in Lusaka, Zambia for negotiation and for agreement. You have the agreement of Lusaka. This was in 1999, 1999, to 2000 negotiation Sun City, and then 2002 Pretoria agreement. After that, you have this M23. It is the result of an agreement that didn't work in 2012, called the Agreement of Goma. That agreement was signed in Goma 2009, March 23. Here's the name of M23. It came from there. It is to tell people, look, we were born from this agreement that didn't work. So that's how this movement was born.
Yeah, this makes total sense. It might be helpful. So some of my viewers are going to be fairly aware of what's been going on in Congo. Some of them might not be. So it might be helpful. We're talking about the agreements. It might be helpful to talk about, maybe give a high level overview of what, I mean, Congo has seen decades of conflict with almost different sets of conflict, but at like an incredibly high level, what's been going on.
Okay, to understand the conflicts in Congo, you need to go far to 1994. This is the year of genocide in Rwanda. This is the starting point of the point of the conflict in Eastern Congo. When the genocide arrived in Rwanda, in that time, you have almost 3 million of people flowing from Rwanda to the countries in the region. Congo was forced to host almost 1.5 million of Hutu refugees from
So about half
Rwanda.
of them.
Exactly. Among those people, you have combatants from the army that was defeated. The Hutu army was defeated, and among them you have militia that was accused to have perpetrated that genocide. This is the first point. And the Rwanda regime that held in the power after the genocide was concerned about the security of their country from those people that they call genocidaires. And they accused Congo to host those people. And this became a pretext from the Rwanda regime to go after Congolese authorities to invade Congo, to neutralize this threat, what they call the threat. This group, the militia, they call it in French, maybe in English too, FDLR, this Democratic Force of the Liberation of Rwanda.
Mm.
These people are accused to be the genocidaire and to hide themselves in Congo. So they become, from that time until today, the pretext, an excuse for Rwanda regime to invade Congo.
Mm.
They did it first after genocide, and they they brought at that time another guy called Laurent Désiré Kabila, and the Mobutu regime was off. At that time, Congo was called Zaire, with the president whose name was Mobutu. Mobutu was pressured by the international community to host those people. It was not his fault. Unfortunately for him, Rwanda and the allies in the region came to throw Mobutu and to put Kabila in the power. This is, you can see, we have series. Mobutu's regime is over because of this situation. And then Rwanda and the regional coalition against the Congo, they came with Kabila. Kabila is now president from 2009. He is president because of the Rwanda, because of the regional powers. And then they got a disagreement on how they will manage the power, how they will control minerals, all those stuff, because this war is about the minerals, about the economic control. Kabila was not the guy anymore for them. This is the first Kabila, the father, Laurent Désiré Kabila, and the disagreement led to a new war.
Mm.
That started in 1988, a new rebellion supported by Rwanda, armed by Rwanda. This the rebellion, Rassemblement Congolais pour la Démocratie, so Rally for Democracy, was armed by Rwanda, and it was very strong, and succeeded to occupy almost the half of the territory. We got agreement with those people, and after that you have new rebellions. After an agreement, disagreement, new rebellion. After the Rally for Democracy, supported by Rwanda, you have new one called CNDP. CNDP is Conseil National pour la Défense du Peuple, like an organization to defend people. Which people are we talking about? The Rwandophone people. In Congo, you have Tutsi, who are Congolese. And it makes it problematic because you have Tutsi in power in Rwanda, and they think people who are in Congo, those Tutsi in Congo, are in danger, and they need to be protected. So all those groups supported and armed by Rwanda have these claims, this claim about the protection of this population, the Tutsi ones, and it has become a pretext to have new rebellions as an agenda against the Congolese state. So now we have M23, which was defeated before in 2013, and they were defeated and went to the Uganda. After all these years, from 2013, they are back with new agenda, new claims, among them the protection of Tutsi population. So you can see what I can say for these conflicts and for our viewers. You have three futures, three factors that shape this conflict. You have, first of all, transnational identities. Why transnational identities? You have people like Tutsi who are in Congo, who are in Rwanda, and they control the power, political power in Rwanda. You have Tutsi in Burundi and in Uganda. So you have those people whose existence predate the colonial time. And when borders came with colonization, you find those people everywhere in the region. And now you have colonial borders with people, you never know who is where, who belongs to which state.
Yeah.
And this brought problem until today. This is the first mechanism, first factor, transnational identities. The second one is economic. Obviously, the economy, those people, Rwanda, those states, foreign powers, Rwanda, Uganda, even more. Maybe we will talk about Western powers. They come because of minerals. Congo has more than 60% of coltan, and everyone know here why we can use for coltan. We have coltan in our phones, our tablet, our computers, our electric vehicles, and Congo has those things. That's why you have this war. Rwanda control mineral sites in eastern Congo, and that for 3 decades. So this is the second key, and the last one is the Congolese state itself. All these situation broke this Congolese state. You have a weak state that is incapable of securing population, controlling its own territory, and it's brought this instability for now 3 decades.
Yeah, this makes total sense. I mean, yeah, it seems like it just is a lot. There's a lot of factors and a lot going on. It seems like what you're saying makes sense that the current wave really seems to stem from the Rwandan genocide and the resulting kind of
Exactly.
outflow of like almost like a counter movement against the genocide that Rwanda's been doing, and then it's kind of been splintering off since. And between that and you mix in all this mineral wealth, things like coltan that become very valuable, and you kind of have an ugly situation that has harmed a lot of innocent people.
Yeah.
I guess so. One thing I wanted to ask about. So you were talking. You study a lot of about like ethno-nationalism and understanding the different kind of identities in the conflict in this area. And you already hinted at this, but it seems like a lot of the identities are complicated. Some of them they can range from very local groups with very local conceptions of their interests to these like very big transnational identities like Hutu and Tutsi that span a lot of different countries. So maybe can you walk through yeah, what do you look at when as you've been researching this area?
Okay, let's talk about ethno-nationalism. First of all, you need to understand this concept of ethno-nationalism. You have a couple of authors who define it in diverse ways. So I will maybe focus on two ways of understanding ethno-nationalism. The first one is a political ideology. In this conception, vision of ethno-nationalism, belonging to a nation is defined on the ethnic basis. You have this. So, who is member of the nation? The question is that who is the member? Who belongs to the nation? The one who has an ethnic, the one who is member of possibly a dominant ethnic. You have it across the world. Maybe you know the case of India, which is in the news now. You have countries such as India who define the citizenship on the ethnic base. So this excludes people who are not, for example, Hindu and or everything else. This is the political ideology of the ethno-nationalism. So nation and ethnic identity. The second one is the sense of belonging. This is more subjective. It comes from people, from community who express the sense of belonging, the idea that we share values, we share a common history, a common culture, common traditions, and we have the same language, like francophone, rwandophone. So I am focusing on these two dimensions of ethno-nationalism that operate in the eastern of Congo's conflicts. How it works. We just discussed about transnational identities. You have Hutu, Tutsi living in the region. You have Tutsi communities in Congo. And then the question of who is member of the society, member of the nation, become more important for those people. Because of what? Because of the threat Congolese people, Congolese politicians think they are facing from foreigners, from other powers, and mostly from Rwanda. When Rwanda attack, when Rwanda invade through rebellions and all these things, it become problematic for the people whose citizenship is contested. Those Tutsi Congolese. They are Congolese, but they are Tutsi, and they have their, what I call in my research, they co-ethnic members living in Rwanda, a country seen as a threat to the Congo. And this question of who really belongs to the nation become more salient. And those people see their nationality, their citizenship being every time contested. They face suspicion of being people who infiltrate. I don't know if it is the word in English. Infiltrate the society for the benefit of Rwanda and to hurt the country. So this question become politically important. So those and you have it's occurred starting with Mobutu, and in this case, when you have conflict locally, because politicians in the big cities, in the capital city in Kinshasa, Mobutu had allies from Kivu. And those politicians, those allies from Kivu, they have voters locally among communities. And those communities live together with Tutsi communities as well. And when they have problem, when they have conflict locally, this affect the perspective in political area in Kivu and in Kinshasa. And Mobutu, when Mobutu became to have difficulties with opposition, you need to find the way to maybe to reinforce your side. And Mobutu, the way to do so was to understand the claims from Kivu politicians to exclude those who are not really member of the nation, which means Tutsi population from Kivu. So you can see the citizenship of those kind of people is always contested, redefined. Mobutu did so by voting a law. The law in 1981 was to recognize all those people, and Mobutu said, "Okay, you are all member of this country." Excuse me. This was in 2072. After that, Mobutu changed into in 1972. Excuse me, and in 1981, a new law came uh, to, to to distract everything, to say no, you don't belong anymore to the country. If you want to become Zairwa in that time, so Congolese now, just apply personally and not collectively. So you can see every time the membership of this group was redefined every time. So this is the first way to see the ethno-nationalism. The second one, the sense of belonging. And now those groups are under pressure. They think they are under threat. They in their narratives. When I started, you can hear things like they want to do a second genocide on us. This genocidaire narrative is very, very present in their claims, and that this shape
And
the
just to
sense of
be
belonging.
clear, in whose claim?
Yeah.
Who in whose claims is the second genocide narrative?
Oh yeah, this is Congolese Tutsi.
Okay.
Congolese Tutsi. Yeah, Congolese Tutsi, and particularly the Congolese Tutsi they call Banyamulenge. So you have a couple of Tutsi, Banyamulenge, Tutsi themselves, and among them you have a small group of Banyamulenge, but all of them are Tutsi. They
And
claim that they fear a second genocide on them, but this is a contradictory narratives in Eastern Congo. They claim so, and others communities who are against them, who thinks they are not Congolese. So you have Baflero, you have Babembe, you have Banindu. Those are local groups who contest the membership of Tutsi in general, the Congolese Tutsi, and those local groups claim in contrary that they fear that they will be exterminated one day by this Tutsi. Tutsi see them as a threat, and as people who will make a genocide on them. So you have a contradictory narratives, and these narratives
this is
shape, as I said.
quick
Yeah.
question right there, just to make sure. So the Congolese Tutsi, their fear for the second genocide is again that would be done by fellow Congolese people, not by Hutus that are in Congo, but
Okay.
by other ethnic groups. Or are the Hutus a bit more combined and affiliated with the Hutu or Tutsi Congolese people in that area?
Okay. They fear this second genocide from, you remember, the Hutu fled to Congo
Right.
after the big genocide,
In Rwanda.
and they have, exactly, they have become a pretext for Rwandan regime, a Tutsi regime, let's say, because you have to make it clear. The Tutsi regime in Rwanda uh, set this group as a pretext to invade Congo for 3 decades now. And those Tutsi in Congo fear that this group, who honestly doesn't exist anymore,
Right.
because for three decades, it's you have they are maybe the old people, old men, and but they think these people, this group, still there and is a threat to their life. This is Tutsi, the Congolese Tutsi, and the Rwanda has this narrative too.
I was going to say, this is
To
also the Rwandan government's official line for a while, too. Yeah, keep going.
Yeah, exactly. So this narrative came from Rwanda, from the elite among the Tutsi, Congolese Tutsi, and really you have violence from both sides, from this group and from local, what they call First Nations, like in Canada and the US, you have those groups calling themselves First Nation, Aboriginal, I can say, in Eastern Congo, and they fight the Tutsi, Congolese Tutsi, as stranger, as foreigners. They never believe they are Congolese, because of that violence that came from Rwanda, because they never accepted the idea that the violence from the Tutsi genocide in Rwanda was exported in Congo. And they, they make the Congolese Tutsi accountable of that. So that is you can see the broad is like that. And so the claim is there, and those claims shape and reshape the sense of belonging in Tutsi Congolese community and in local Congolese communities like Bafleo, Babembe, Banindu. In both sides, it reinforces the idea we are a group, we face a threat, we belong to this group, we have same traditions, we have common history, language, and so on. And now, because I was focused in a Tutsi perspective in Banyamulenge, exactly, and what I could see was like they was able to develop what I call in my research a survival ethno-nationalism. A survival ethno-nationalism is based on the idea that they fear for their life and they have to be together. And this is their slogan: stay together and fight.
Mm.
This is why they say, stay together and fight, or you die as a group. So I was able to focus on the group, on the militia, and they have now a militia defending themselves, called Twirwaneho. Twirwaneho, it is a name in Kinyarwanda. It is a name in Kinyarwanda, the language from Rwanda, because those people speak Kinyarwanda. You can see even in their identity, they have a problem. Uh, in Congolese perspective, in the Congolese local communities perspective, seeing the people speaking in Kinyarwanda is a problem for them. So this group organized, mobilized in the idea we have to defend ourselves, and I call it survival ethno-nationalism. And they are there. They fight. Now they are fighting as allied to the M23 to keep going and defend themselves. And all this, you can see, it reinforces instability and suffering for population in both sides.
Yeah, this makes total sense. I mean, I like the phrase survival ethno-nationalism. And I mean, it makes me think of, I think there could be other parts of the world where that idea applies. Maybe in aspects of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, maybe in some of the stuff in Myanmar. Those are conversations for different days, but like it
Mm-hmm.
seems like it can be a wider, even human phenomenon that you can have groups that feel belligered and then kind of
Mm-hmm.
they maybe go on the offense in a way but they're justifying it as a defensive, like we're defending our
Mm-hmm.
survival, we need to come together to survive. um
Mm-hmm.
how does the M23, how do they connect with this? Because I thought they were a bit different, but how do they interrelate with these groups, or kind of um where are they coming from? I know that they're, if I
Mm-hmm.
believe you said this, that they're a little more associated with the Ugandan side. And yeah, kind of what's their deal?
Okay, the M23 was born after the Goma Agreement. The Goma Agreement was signed in 2009 in March 23. So M23 is March 23. Uh, this agreement failed, according to them. It was supposed to implement things like amnesty, recognition as a political movement, liberation of prisoners, all these things. According to them, the government failed to do so,
Mm,
and this is this was signed with CNDP. Remember, the other group, the Conseil National pour la Défense du Peuple, which means National Council to protect people,
mm,
to defend people, which was led by a Tutsi general who, uh, who came out of the National Army, Laurent Kunda. It is this group uh, who signed this agreement with the Congolese government in 2009 in Goma. And so for them, it failed to implement what they agree for. And after that, so we are in 2009. In 2012, M23 was born with the idea we defend the March 23 agreement. And the new war started from there 1 year after they was defeated by the Congolese army with the help of the logistically from United Nations. And after that, you have from 2013 until 2021 November, M23 was back
we're getting close
from
to
the
now.
refugee. Exactly, they resurged from the Uganda camp
Mm-hmm.
and started the war, and they became more stronger than before. That is not understandable from what the international community can do. But remember, I said this is also a responsibility for Congolese government, which is, as a state, the state was weakened by all these 3 decades of the war. So they came back with more strength, more logistic, and with new claims. Among them, you have the same question of protection of Tutsi populations, and that's to respond directly to your question. The link is there. They claim that Tutsi are not safe, and they have to protect them. The government have to protect them, and if not, they will do so. That's what they try to do now, and um, in 2 years ago, they reinforced their movement to become more political and military, and they create the alliance, the Congo River Alliance. The Congo River Alliance and M23 is an association to be more political, to organize their narrative politically speaking. And you have Corneille Nangaa, who leads this political dimension of the movement. Corneille Nangaa, for those who follow Congolese politics, was the chairman of electoral commission, the organization that leads election in Congo, and now he's a leader in a rebellion side. That is crazy from Congolese politics. He's leading now the political aspects of this movement, and now they have Rwanda behind them. The international community, in a couple of reports, said that Rwanda support Rwanda armed, and Rwanda give them troops to be more stronger, to be stronger, as I said, and as we can see, they are now in Goma, Bukavu, uh, that are the major cities in Eastern Congo, and they keep going now with Washington Accords. We can see that there are some hope, but yeah, here's what we can know about M23.
Mm, this is really interesting, and this is helpful. So it seems like that was gonna be you were kind of getting into something I was also wanting to ask you, which is what role are these other countries playing? Well, we can focus on like the big powers like US, the China, the West, like those places. We can save that for later, but the more local regional power countries like say Rwanda and Uganda, what role are they playing in the conflicts happening in Eastern Congo?
Rwanda, particularly, Rwanda has always ambition to secure access to Congolese minerals. This is known from reports from UN reports, from independent organizations. Rwanda has an ambition. Rwanda is a small country. Uh, Congo has a lot of spaces. Maybe Rwandan would control one of them. You can see that in official speech. They don't hide the idea that Kivu was one of their territory, and now to to justify their presence in Congo, they have to to invade. They have to create rebellions, to arm them. Here's what you can see, starting with the first alliance that defeated Mobutu regime. It was called AFDL, so it is Alliance for the Liberation of the Congo. After that was the Rally for Democracy into 1988, armed by Rwanda, and they faced the Laurent Désiré Kabila's regime. And after that, you have CNDP, armed by Rwanda, facing Kabila-san regime. And now you have all those groups until the M23. They all have one denomination, one symbol, the Rwanda. Rwanda armed them. The last United Nations report recognized it, and you have a couple of reports that say it, and again, Rwanda armed them. The idea for Rwanda is to not be seen, but to be there exploiting illegally minerals from Congo. Rwanda does not have coltan. Rwanda does not have all these minerals, but Rwanda export them. Rwanda control the supply chains in the region. How can you explain that? That is the reason why Rwanda is invading the Congo. And you have all the other powers too. In the first war of Congo, Rwanda was not alone. Rwanda came in alliance with Uganda, Burundi. Burundi is not really influencing the game, but Uganda, yes, Uganda and Rwanda, they face each other in what we call the 6 days war in Kisangani. This was terrible for the population. Why they face each other? Because they wanted to control the diamond site in that region in Kisangani, which is in the northeastern of Congo. So you can see the main objective is how they can secure access to minerals in Congo. So you have those actors, regional actors. The main one is Rwanda. You have Uganda and Burundi. But what is I don't know how to say it. You have them as threat, then you have them as partners. Now you have Uganda collaborating with Congolese government to fight against rebellions which threat the national security in Uganda. ADF, maybe you know this group, the ADF group. They collaborate with Congolese government, and at the same time, people in Congo are concerned about the double standard, how do I say double game in French, or that Uganda play with Congolese government. So in short, you have those government whose motives are the way they can secure the access to Congolese minerals.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, this second part is actually super useful for me. I mean, I know with Rwanda and Uganda, they're officially allies with each other, and like their politicians, like Museveni and Kigali, which are the presidents of both those two countries, for any viewer who doesn't know, are like official, like they're at least officially like friends from their youth, like friends for decades. Um, but it seems like been a bit of a quiet competition with each other. So this is helpful to kind of understand. So
Mhm.
it seems like they're as much both cooperating in extracting resources and as much competing and kind of playing like a three-way fight between Congo, Uganda, and Rwanda. Is that fair, or is that accurate?
Yeah, they do both. They do competition and collaboration.
Mm,
In the first war, they collaborate uh, to uh, to defeat Mobutu, and they succeed in that way. And when they arrived in Congo, they found out that the country was really rich with minerals, and then uh, the problem started there. Their alliance was not there anymore, and so from collaboration now they become in competition. They play the both role, collaborating to secure their respective national security. They do so to fight the Rwandan militia, FDLR, and the other side, they collaborate, both governments, Congo, Uganda, to fight ADF movement, which is Ugandan one. And when it comes to the minerals, they are in competition.
mm,
This is what I read in the 6 days war. Now you can't see the competition really, but it is there.
mm,
You can see it because of the international justice intervene and condemned Uganda to to pay for that, and they paid a lot of money. You can't see them fighting, but they use the influence. they every time send troops in Congo. In which country you can see troops every time coming there from Uganda, from Rwanda? The presence of these groups, which is officially to collaborate, it is really to secure their access to the minerals in Congo.
Mm. Yeah, this makes total sense. Um, one thing I was thinking about, so I used at one many years ago, I taught high school math in rural Uganda. And I remember at one point, one of the fellow teachers, a friend of mine, there, he had a maybe an unusually glib, very explicit personality. He kind of said what was on his mind. And at one point, he was like, Rwanda and Uganda have effectively colonized Eastern Congo,
Mhm.
is something that he said. What do you think about that? To what extent do you think that's true?
I think it is a bit exaggerated, but let's say that it is not in the interest of Rwandans and the Ugandans to see Congo organized, to see Congo become a real state, a viable state. So they want it to be weak, so they can play what they do to influence their agenda. Uganda does not have that much influence, but it is they push they push Rwanda. They let Rwanda play this role, but both of them knows that Congo it is a big state. It's a big territory, and for them it is in their strategy to control those spaces. And so, yeah, as I said, the weakness of the Congo is an advantage for them, and they will never let Congolese reorganize their society. This will be bad for Rwanda to see a strong state. That's why I said in my third key, my third factor, this factor is about the Congolese state. I will say that it is the responsibility first for Congolese, but it is also the responsibility for the international community to accompany Congolese to build the state, to have a state with a power, with a military power, a viable army that can defend the territory, that can secure and protect populations. You will see this uh, relationship with power in the region will become more respectful, more in partnership, instead of what we see now with two invading states and one who is really big theoretically, but in terms of state, it is not that strong enough. And the international community need to help Congos to face this threat from those powers in the region.
Yeah, this makes total sense. I was going to also ask you about the international community a little more broadly, zooming out beyond Congo, Uganda, Rwanda. What do you think about the US, China, maybe other kind of international bodies in their various responses, and maybe other kind of Western responses too? Like maybe could you give like a bit of an overview of how they have interacted in this whole situation for the last like decade or so?
Okay, in the last decades, the reaction of the Western powers was uh, to to be kind, I can say, with Rwanda. They have a gentle reaction against Rwandan behavior in Congo. They were hesitating to condemn Rwanda. Uh, obviously because of the genocide. The international community didn't react to stop genocide. You can remember in that time they had what they call MINUL, which is a mission, a United Nations mission in Congo. It was not able to stop the violence. So the international community seems feel like they are a bit responsible,
Mm,
accountable for this genocide. They let Rwanda do whatever they have to do on Congo because of genocide for those years of the war. In the meantime, they let Rwanda invading Congo. They let Rwanda exploiting illegally Congolese minerals, and they use those minerals. We all use phones, and I say, as I said before, phones, tablets, computers, those things, not all of them, but the major of that come from Congo's minerals, and as people living in Western societies, we use it. So, in some way, we I say in the name of Western society. So Western societies, they are part of the problem. They are not
mm,
out of the story. They contribute to this war by using this material when it becomes phones or electric vehicle. So you can see that they participate, but this dynamic uh, starts to change a bit. You have now the United Nations condemning Rwanda's behavior, Rwanda's activities, military activities in Congo. The last resolution in the Security Council was really clear. It said Rwanda is invading Congo, Rwanda is arming rebellions, and Rwanda have uh, to be accountable of what is coming in Congo. For the first time, the uh, uh, 2773 resolution was clear about that. But the thing is, they can condemn, but they do nothing. Now we can see uh, the narrative is changing with Donald Trump. Donald Trump came with a new strategy. Donald Trump is bringing business diplomacy. And the idea for him is to see how he can transform what Congolese call predation on their minerals, how we can transform it into uh, a cooperation. This is the key with the Washington deals. It tried to put economics in the center of the strategy to see how those people, because the thing is, Rwanda is fighting in the Congo for economic motives. So how can we make that all these regional countries benefit from the minerals without um, uh, without hurting the Congolese sovereignty? So Washington deals try to do it, and you have a couple of countries, France a little bit, Europeans. They start now to condemn Rwanda and to ask for a peaceful resolution. It is not enough, but we can see that it is changing now. So yeah, maybe we can talk a bit about those uh, those Washington deals. we are now in that. But in the meantime, you have Chinese. I think you mentioned it in your questions you sent to me about what Obama decided. The administration and Obama took out a couple of minerals societies because of the idea for Obama was how he can limit, how he can stop the link between minerals and conflicts. And the idea was to do so. But the thing is, when you, as a major superpower, you are not present in the areas like in Congo, and then you let other superpower to come in. That is what Chinese did after that decision from Obama, and the Chinese are now controlling a couple of mineral sites in the south of Congo and a bit in the Kivus as well. The idea now for Donald Trump is to confront and to challenge, that is the word, to challenge the presence of Chinese in in the Congo's mineral sphere, and the Washington deals try to do so. It creates it suggests to create what they call a framework, an regional economic framework in which Congo and Rwanda can work together to organize and secure supply chains in minerals, in energy, in transportation. All these are the good ideas, but the thing for Congolese, they they feel like it is rushing, and it lacks transparency. They don't know what exactly is decided, because the feeling in Congo is like, okay, now Rwanda was exploiting illegally our minerals. And, with this agreement, Rwanda will do it officially. This is the feeling in Congo. But I took the time to read these agreements. For me, it is a good start. It provides a framework where people can work and reflect. And a part of that, you have the Congo USA agreement, which will provide uh, the access, the US access to minerals, and in exchange, US will provide security, financing for Congolese projects. So you can say with Donald Trump, there is a bit, what one can say, the paradigm is changing, but we need to see effectively with transparency what is going on. These are questions people are asking now in Congo. So from what we saw before in 3 decades, Western countries not even condemning Rwanda, and now you can see when M23 entered in Uvira after Washington Accords was signed. The leaders in Washington was very hard with Rwanda. You can remember Marco Rubio tweet in X was very, very furious against Rwanda. For the first time, you can see those things happening. For Congolese, it is something they take seriously.
Yeah, this makes total sense. I mean, in my personal opinion, I mean, it seems like Donald Trump's strategy is much more crass in a certain way. It's much more like it's about the resources, it's about this.
Mhm.
Though what might be a little complicated about that is that he might be more saying the quiet part out loud. In that the US has always seemed to have a, we're going to protect the people, we're going to ensure human rights, we're going to deal with the sources of the conflict, but then in what it says, and then what it actually does is what guarantees its wealth, and guarantees those resources. And it seems like this is a maybe a bit of a actually saying that as its explicit policy. Um, I guess one question I have for you is, yeah, so it seems like it's only been a couple months since this got set up, the new stuff. Um, what's your biggest hope? I guess you were kind of talking about your biggest hope with this new policy, but also what's your biggest like these new agreements? What's your biggest hope and what's your biggest source of skepticism? Or kind of what are you most worried about with the latest set of agreements?
Okay, these arguments. Okay, what is good it is they try to do something new. In my perspective, as I said, the economy is the key. People are fighting for economic interest.
Hmm.
Rwanda is invading Congo for economic interest. They hide it behind the security for Tutsi population, which is really an issue. But for me, as an expert in conflict, the conflict occurs when uh, when parties have divergent interest, divergent needs, divergent values, traditions, and so on. So, how do you resort? How do you settle these conflicts? You need to go through interest. You need to go through needs, values, traditions, and try to reconcile those interests. This is the key to resolve a conflict. How do you put together interest? How do you link it? And how do you find bridges between these interests? So when you look on these conflicts in Congo, you have one how to secure is the integrity of its territory, its sovereignty. So these are divergent interests. So what Donald Trump tried to do is to reconcile it by putting economics as the center of the problem and invite all these people. How can we make the agreement? How can we make the economy be the issue for all of us? So how can we transform the illegally exploitation into partnership and cooperation? So, first of all, they sign with the help of the USA the ordinary political agreement, which recommends both sides to commit to not attack each other, to neutralize armed groups, and to respect sovereignty, etc. And beside of that, you have an agreement called regional economic framework, in which they try to put Rwanda and Congo work together in supply chains. I know it is not easy for ordinary population in Congo to accept the idea that Rwanda is controlling supply chains with Congo. This is not acceptable. as we know, Rwanda does not have coltan. They doesn't have all those materials they are searching in Eastern Congo. But the idea is, how do we reconcile interest? And Donald Trump tried to do so. So in this framework, economic framework, they try to make that Congo work on transportation, on supply chains. I said it, on energy. You see the Kivu River. The Kivu River have a lot of capacities, for example, to provide power, electricity to the population along that river. So how can both countries work together with the help of the United States? The thing is, they need to be transparent. They need to be honest, and they need to show the population that the Congo is not letting go his sovereignty. And these are the questions. Besides this economic framework, you have United States signing with the Congo to secure access to critical minerals, and in exchange give protection, give financing to the Congos. For me, it is a good start, which needs to be accompanied by international oversight. To be more, this region is not the first region to face violence in the history. Europeans experimented the same thing. What we call today European Union was not there for what, two countries, and now we have 28 countries forming the European Unions on the idea of living together, sharing values, sharing information, sharing benefit in economy. So Rwanda and Congo can do that, but there is a condition. The condition is to rebuild the Congolese state. So I can insist on that. Without a strong state in Congo, without an organized state, what do we find in organized state? Is an army, an organized army capable of defending the territory, and then will be respected by others. A justice, a working justice that uh, can sanction all the bad behavior. Because you have in this, what I call the war economy, you don't have not only Rwanda dealing with the war economy, you have people from Congo, generals from the army, politicians controlling and taking advantage of this disorder, this chaos, and becoming rich because of the instability. So make those people accountable. So you have the beginning of something we can say the peace. If you have an organized state, is the one who can provide services to the populations. I myself studied those groups from Tutsi groups. They live in the conditions that you cannot describe, and they are not the same because of the lack of state, the lack of services, the lack of education, the viable education, viable hospitals, and all those things. you can't find in those areas. So first of all, organizing the Congolese state will help it to negotiate is its sovereignty in a good posture, which is not the case right now. So, in short, the economics is the key that can build lasting peace in Great Lakes region.
Yeah, this makes total sense. Um, one question I have about the latest agreement. You articulated the theory, which is that they're trying that the goal was to try to get everyone to align in their interests, so everyone has the same interest so all sides have an interest in that benefits the Congolese people and helps build the state. To what extent, if that's the theory, if that's the goal, if that's the idea, to what extent
Mhm.
you think it will be effective in doing that? Does it actually align
Okay.
people or align the different sides?
Yeah, I'm not naive. I know that state have their own interest. Let's say that it is not in the interest of those actors, Rwanda, foreigners, Westerns, societies. It is not in their interest to see roles being the key, being the central management in this area. So they will try to damage this kind of initiatives to let it be the instability. So that's why I say I'm not naive. I know. I know people will not accept the situation to be normalized. Uh, this is why the international community, even if in the international community you have those people that are playing a role in the instability, but it's a role of international community to accompany those people. So for this agreement to succeed, it needs mechanism of control, mechanism of I don't know if oversight, oversee. I don't know
Oversight's the right
how
word.
oversight
Or
exactly. So
enforcement
they,
too.
exactly they need that. Without that, uh, uh, we have a couple of agreements from 2000, and now they were good agreements as well, but they failed because of lack of oversight. And now we have the United States with Donald Trump, who is pragmatic. Maybe we can take advantage of his ambitions of who the one who wants to make the peace in the world. We know this is theoretical, but he wants to secure the interest for the United States first. But in some way, he can help because he is not predictable. Uh, this is an advantage, and maybe not. And but yeah, they have to use their power to push on both sides to respect their commitment. It is not easy when it comes to for the countries such as Rwanda to evaluate their interest. So the question is that good for them to maintain instability or to go to the organized region? That is the question. And if we respond to that question, and if actors, the major actors such as the United States, respond to these questions, maybe we can see the light.
Mm, this makes total sense. I guess fingers crossed. One of the final questions I have for you. One of the most common discourses in the U.S. around around Congo and around the conflict is around trying to avoid um, buying things that are made from mines that have bad conditions, or from funding funding violent groups, through the things we buy and stuff like this. This is often, on a practical level, in my experience, how the discourse is. And what I wanted to ask you is, how effective do you think it is to just not buy things from the Congo? I mean, this might relate more to the Obama side, where Obama was able to establish a little more effective sanctions that didn't buy as much from some of the mines and some of the areas that are controlled by rebels, or mines that have poor conditions and stuff like this. Um, but you talked about this. What you saw in some of those regions was China just kind of swooped in and kind of kept things on, because they also want these resources. I guess, to what extent do you think that type of approach is effective in helping to promote peace and helping to promote things like, you know, better life for people in this part of the Congo? Better quality of
Mhm.
life. I guess that's how to phrase that. Better life.
So yeah, so refusing to buy maybe phones, tablet, computers. Um, I know. I can remember what they call Kimberley process. Kimberley process was an initiative to prevent effectively products to prevent buying products that came from the region, such as Sierra Leone or Liberia.
Yeah, like the blood
Uh,
diamond.
it was a blood diamonds, exactly. So that was it is a good example of what they can do. But here it is different. How do you
Mm.
know your phone is? Yeah, we know theoretically we know that, but you don't have the proof that it comes from Congo. We have Congo as a coltan, but other countries too. The how can ordinary people in Western societies contribute is to push on their uh, their representative in parliaments, uh, because people have the power of the vote, and they can uh, exercise this power to their representative and to push them to call for accountability to the government. This is the way democracy works, and I was invited a couple of weeks ago in Rimouski region, is in Quebec, on this question of what can Western public do to help people in Congo. It is by pushing hard to their government, and locally to the member of parliament who will come to seek for vote, and to tell them they need to do something. Uh, this being said, government in USA, France, Canada, and everywhere, they have interest to secure. They have interest, and those interests uh, go through societies, mineral societies that work in Congo and everywhere else. So it is a dilemma for them between economics interest and values, ethical values.
Mm.
And what consumers can do is uh, to ask for ethical values on what they buy. I don't know in what way they will do it, but it is by pushing hard on the representative to do something to show how ethical values are promoted from the societies that work in areas, conflicts areas, such as Eastern Congo.
Yeah, this makes total sense. I mean, I think maybe one big difference with some of the stuff in like Sierra Leone versus Congo that might be important is that, like with blood diamonds, diamonds at the end of the day are a luxury. Like someone could just not have diamonds, or they can
Mhm,
even still wear jewelry but not a diamond. Maybe they go with other jewels or stuff like this. But like it's much harder to just not go with a phone. Or, electric vehicles are important. They're important for helping the environment. The current stuff in the Congo very much
mhm,
aligns with some of the key products in our in our modern tech world. And that might make it harder to, because the demand is there and the demand is worldwide. Um, and that's where the exploitation comes from. Um, I The
mhm.
final question I have for you is, for anyone interested in learning more about your work, and then maybe also about like what's been going on in the Congo in general, but maybe your work in particular, where would you recommend they go to check that out?
Oh yeah, I have a couple of works on they just have to Google my name. They will see what I'm working on. I have a book. I have a book. This book is my first book. It is on Congo, political conflict in Congo. It is in French. If they read in French, they will find just Google my name. This book, uh, it is about the political conflicts that occur every time when we have change, and then we go back to the conflict about who can hold the power and stuff like that. And if you want to understand the Gen Z movement against government, about term, one, two term, three terms, and then you have some insight here. I work on Rwanda too. My thesis is coming out. I work on my new book, which is mainly on my thesis about ethno-nationalism and violence, with a focus on Banyamulenge and Congo. Congo is another group in DRC. So it will come out very soon. Articles, scientific articles on Rwanda on a peaceful mechanism, and I give a lot of interview in media. If you Google my name with TV5 Monde, Google my name with Deutsche Welle. Deutsche Welle, I have a couple of interview there. I will share with you the links if you want. Um, Deutsche Welle, Radio Canada. So just Google my name. You will find out my works and on what I work precisely. About Congo, I worked there as a journalist, so I have a bit of knowledge of the Congo, what people need in the peace, and the peace will come through the comprehension, the understanding from each groups uh, in a region. We have minerals, and these minerals don't benefit to the populations. This is the question Congolese leaders have to ask themselves: how can we put an end to these conflicts and start to develop our country and let these people benefit from all those minerals God just gave to us?
Yeah, this makes total sense. Well, yeah, and if you could please send those resources, I'll include them in the description below.
Mhm.
Thanks
Okay.
for taking the time to talk, and I agree. I mean, you and I are recording this around Christmas time. I might, by the time I post it, it might be a little later, but Christmas is a time for peace and what people talk about peace, and this is one of the biggest places in the world that needs peace. So let's hope. I guess that's the what we can do. And like you said, talk to people, maybe talk to our politicians, this is an important part of the world for important place for that, where a lot of violence and a lot of ugly things have happened. Um, but yeah, thanks for taking the time to chat now. I guess I hope you have a good rest of your holiday season, holiday week. New Year's coming up in a couple of days.
Exactly. Thank you, Stephen, for the invitation.